Hello and welcome to this new video. My name is Youssef, and today I have a special guest with me. This guest is Ali Aziz, and together we're gonna discuss about Lakehouse Monitoring. Hi Ali.
Hi everyone, really happy to be here. This tool is a game changer for keeping track of your data's quality and model performance. This is an awesome tool.
Perfect, Ali. So could you tell me what exactly is the Databricks Lakehouse Monitoring?
Yes, for sure. So Databricks Lakehouse Monitoring enables teams to oversee all their data pipelines comprehensively. This covers everything from data and features to machine learning models, all within a single tool, eliminating the need for extra tools and intricate setups. It's fueled by Unity Catalog. So these features enables users to guarantee the excellence, the precision, and the dependability of the data and AI resources. It achieves this by providing profound visibility into the lineage of both data and AI assets, ensuring they meet the highest standards.
Okay, that sounds cool. And why do you think is that important?
Yeah, good question. So in order to extract valuable insight from your data, it's essential to trust in the data's quality. So by actively observing your data, you can gather numerical metrics that enable you to monitor and validate the consistency and excellence of your data as time progresses. If shift in your data distribution or the performance of associated models become apparent, the monitoring system provided by Databricks Lakehouse can document and notify you about these changes, aiding in the identification of their underlying reasons.
Yes, makes sense, but how does it work behind the scenes?
Yes. Yeah. So, Lakehouse monitoring on Databricks involves setting up monitors linked to specific tables, and this monitors enables the observation of table performance.
And which kind of monitoring is it?
Yeah. Databricks Lakehouse monitoring offers several analysis methods. We have the time series analysis. So this involves comparing data distribution within different time windows. We have the snapshot analysis. So in contrast to time series, snapshot analysis tracks changes in the complete contents of a table over time. And finally, we have the inference analysis. So this pertains to tables holding predicted values generated by machine learning classification or regression models.
So to summarize, you select your table and the profile type, so whether it's time series, snapshot, or inference, and then what's next?
So after selecting the profile type and the chosen tables, the Lakehouse monitoring will define what type of metrics are relevant for the tables. And it will create two data tables, a drift table, which contains statistics related to the data's drift over time, and a profile metrics table, which contains summary statistics. So those tables will feed a DB SQL dashboard that will be automatically built and used to inspect metrics with some visualization. And we can also use those tables to create alerts notification to be notified when changes are detected, or to set up a webhook to retrain a model if its performance is too low.
Yeah, it's very, very cool, but please, now show me how it works.
Yes, for sure. So to create a monitoring, we can do it via the UI or via the API. But like this, we can just import the package and use the create monitor method. But here we will just do it via the UI. So to do so, we can open the Data Explorer, navigate to the table, to the specific table we want to monitor. So in our case, it's Airbnb price and inference logs. So it's an inference table with inputs and predictions of a regression model. And on this table, we have simulated a drift on few features for the purpose of this demo. Then we click on the quality tab on Get Started button to begin creating a new monitor. So it will be prompted to choose the profile for our monitor. So we will choose Inference, then the problem type. So in this case, it's a regression problem. Prediction column, put prediction. Eventually the label column, in our case, it's price. The metric granularities, let's say it's every hour, every day, as timestamp column, which is timestamp, and the model ID column. We can also specify the schedule, like once a day, suited to the frequency of inference to track our model performance. Then we can write the schema of the generated assets, like the drift and profile tables. So in our case, we will put it in monitoring demo.default, the default schema. Optionally, we can use the baseline table to compare with previous values, and we can also add some metric slicing expressions and custom metrics. Really helpful if we want to track business metrics like churn rate or delta of price compared to the baseline. We will just put the table name, which is monitoring demo table default dot Airbnb pricer baseline and it has. And then we can click on create. So usually it takes some minutes, but I ran it a few minutes ago for the demo. Let's click on this. And so as a result, once the monitoring is created, we have additional tables, the drift metrics tables and the profile metrics tables. And if I click on the table I am monitoring, this one, and I click on quality, I have the monitoring settings. And I can, for example, click on view dashboard, which will redirect me on this page on the generated DB-SQL.
Okay, it's amazing. I mean, to be honest, I'm really amazed. But just for folks who are watching this video, it's very important to keep in mind that Lakehouse Monitoring is still in public preview and requires some prerequisites like having Unity catalog enabled and having access to Databricks SQL. And of course, the monitoring can only works for Delta tables. And the compute behind scene is a serverless compute. So besides those information, Ali, what are the interesting insights you can share with us?
Yeah, so on the DB-SQL report, which is really cool, is that on that dashboard, with that dashboard, we have direct insight on the most important metrics of our model with some interesting summary statistics on our data. So the report is split in 6 sections. So the first one is the stats overview. So we can firstly get some statistics for the latest window. Like we can see that there were 284 inferences the last time, and 158 of these predictions have a 50% probability of being higher or lower than the actual outcome. On top of that, we have 100 mean absolute error and almost 200 root mean squared error. And as we have added some drift in our data for the purpose of this demo, of course, and as the monitoring does all the relevant statistical tests for us, like the Kolmogorov mean nerve test, the drift we simulated has been identified as we have a KS value of 0.65, which means there is a great chance to have two different distributions between the inference and the baseline. Obviously, if we know precisely what we are looking for, we can eventually also filter by time range or inspection window or eventually a specific model. So this was for the first section. Then we have more information regarding the model performance with different metrics over time. And if, yeah, I go there. For example, in this graph, which is really interesting, is that that when we have multiple models, we can see their performance over time on the same graph to compare them. Next, we can get some insights on the data integrity. We can inspect the number, for example, of none or zero values by column. Here it seems that the quality of our data seems good. So that's nice. Then we have additional information on the results of the statistical test used to detect eventual data drift compared to the baseline for each column over time. And there is also an array to sum up the results for categorical and numerical data. And for example, if we look at the column we change for this experiment, accommodate, which is a numeric feature, let's say here, accommodate. Oh, yes, it's here. We can see that the value of the KS test is at some window equal to 1, which means there is a difference in the distribution of accommodates between the baseline and the inference. And the p-value, just here, the p-value is almost 0. It's 0, which means the statistical test is significant. So knowing that there is a change in the distribution, it might be interesting to see summary statistics on this variable. And this is why after the drift section, there are additional details on the numeric and categorical variables, essentially summary statistics like count, average, median. And if we compare, the average of the accommodates variables in the input to the one in the baseline, we can clearly see that there has been a change in the variable between the previous window and the last window. Knowing all these kinds of metrics is really helpful when developing a model and to monitor it, especially when it's deployed in production. As when a drift is detected, we may need to investigate deeper the cause of these issues and eventually retrain the model using the new data or assess its business impact of change in predictions. That's it.
Okay, that's. I mean, I'm a bit lost. I lost my words. I mean, this data monitoring experience makes it really makes this experience very, very easy to monitor and have those incredible insights. So I'm pretty sure users will really enjoy using this new feature. Again, thank you, Ali, for joining this session. And
thank you for inviting me today.
You're welcome, mate. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate to share them in the comments below. And of course, remember to subscribe in order to stay up to date with our latest tutorials. And see you soon. Bye-bye.
Happy monitoring. Take care.